All right, we are live, and I am excited to be back on. If in fact you have been on my live streams for a while, I do these on Wednesdays at noon Eastern Time. You know that I've been out of the chair for a couple of weeks, just taking some time to enjoy the holidays, enjoy family, just, read some books, fun books, not business books, just relaxing, all the things that go along with just truly allowing yourself to recharge. And I hope you had the opportunity to do some of that as well, or you spent that holiday time doing what it is that you enjoy. I am very good about making sure that when I put together my schedule, I look at the time that I want to take off during the year and I just plan for it because over here, as I always say on these parts of the internet, I do not believe in just running yourself into the ground. I believe in taking appropriate blank. Oh, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. No sound. I'm sorry. Hold on for me 1 second. Give me just 1 second. Okay. Is the sound coming through now? Just let me know because I'm showing that I have sound on this end. If somebody can just check with me before I move forward. And Donald, I appreciate you letting me know. But if somebody can just check, I'm just checking to see whether or not we're getting any sound or if you just see my mouth moving. So let's just make sure. Okay, so Kathy, you're saying you can hear me? I don't want to perfect. All right. So, Donald, check your speakers or something, or perhaps I started before the sound was coming through. It sounds like everyone that has responded is in fact saying that they see sound. I appreciate you all commenting, and perfect. Thank you all so much. It's just so exciting to see all of you on. So that tells me that the topic we're going to be covering today is, in fact, one that you all are very interested in. And I'm excited about that because thank you, Denise. I appreciate you saying that. I'm excited about this topic because I can honestly tell you that this is something you really need to focus on, not just in 2026, but going forward, which is building an email list. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with me, my name is Rhonda M. Jordan, and I focus on teaching people over the age of 45 how to build digital businesses, online businesses. So you can take the knowledge, the skills, the things you have acquired over the last so many years, and you can learn how to turn that knowledge into income. That's what we focus in on this side of the internet. So, one of the things that I like to do is I make sure that I focus in on things such as teaching you how to create the content that's going to attract your audience on your chosen platform. And you get to choose whatever platform that is. The second thing that I do is I focus on teaching you how to move or allow that content to not only attract the audience, but become the start of your email list because you do not own the social media platform that you are building on. What happens is that is a way for you to pull people in, but your job is to build an asset. The asset is your email list. So your job is to get people off of social media and onto your email list. It's much easier than you might think. Long time ago, I'd say probably 10, 12 years ago, I was able to build an email list without even knowing what I was doing. And within about 3 months' time, I had over 800 subscribers. I couldn't even figure out what was going on. So this is not that difficult. So we are looking at 2026 as being the year of simplifying things, but making sure that we are making connections. Now, once you have people on your email list, now you have an opportunity to allow them to get to know you, decide if they like you and trust you. And if all of those factors are in place, now you have the opportunity to start marketing to them the different digital products that you are in the process of creating, or perhaps have already created, that are in fact collecting digital dust on your hard drive. So I hope that makes sense to you. Let me just see who all is on with us. So the real Sheila B says, welcome back. Yes, I had a wonderful 2 weeks of vacation. And actually, prior to that, I think I had to cancel a live stream because we had workers in the house doing something. Kathy, thank you for confirming that my sound was good. Same thing as Sheila as well. I appreciate you doing that. Kathy says the sound was good. Let's see. May for Kutema. Tell me if I'm saying that right. I appreciate you saying that the sound is there. Donald, I'm glad that you're seeing the sound. And this is actually my sister-in-law who is on with me. So hello, Denise. I appreciate you saying that. And let's see, Zay is also on. So I always tell everybody, the thing I want you to do anytime you're on one of my trainings is I need you to have some way of capturing notes. So however you take them, if you write them down, grab your notepad and paper. If you use a Google Doc or whatever, you want to do that because the information we're going to be sharing today is going to be very beneficial to you. So give me just a second to drink some water. And I want to get into it now. So, all right, so let's talk about why email. As I mentioned before, email is really the asset in your business that you own. Your job is really to grow that email list as large as you possibly can. However, you want to make sure that you are getting onto your email list the people that you perceive to be your ideal customer. I started off by telling you that my ideal customer is someone over the 45 and older who has obtained knowledge that they want to turn into income by creating digital products. You have to think long and hard about who your ideal customer is. And if you don't know that right now, don't worry about that. That's something that, you can figure out. As a matter of fact, I have some trainings. I'll link something below that will teach you how to identify who your ideal customer is. As I mentioned, once they're on your email list, your job is to nurture them. So one of the things I do is each Tuesday, and if you've been on my trainings, you heard me say this before, each Tuesday morning at 6:05 a.m., I send an email message out to my subscribers. And in that email message, my goal is to make sure that I leave them better than they were prior to opening that email. What do I mean by that? I want to make sure that I give them something that they can act on, something they can learn, something they can implement, and it's always going to fall into what I call my content buckets. My content buckets are going to be content creation, email marketing, affiliate marketing, and digital products, learning how to actually create and sell them. So it's going to fall into one of those. And I want you to think long and hard about what your content buckets are going to be, assuming you've already figured out what your niche is. And if you don't know that yet, that's something you need to figure out as well. I'll link you to a training as well that you can use. But as I said, today we're focusing solely on email marketing. So the first thing I wanted to start off by telling you is that in this section of the training, I'm assuming you either have no email list because you haven't yet started to build. So we're starting from scratch. So some of this might be a review for you. For others, it might be brand new information. So I don't want to leave anybody behind. I'm going to keep this as simple as I possibly can. So the first thing that I want you to do is to know that there are going to be, I'm sorry, I have a screen in front of you that in front of me that has my notes on it. So if you see me moving around, my eyes moving around, that's actually what's happening. Give me 1 second to resize this. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so the first thing that I want you to think about is how you're going to get people on your email list. Now, the way that you are going to get people on your list is by having some form of lead magnet. Now, let me tell you what a lead magnet is in case that's a new term to you. It's nothing more than a piece of information that's going to help someone solve a problem that they currently have. Now, it's important that this piece of information, and I'll talk to you about the different formats in just a second, but this piece of information needs to apply strictly to your ideal customer. So let me give you an example. If your audience is made up of people who are crocheters, it probably doesn't make sense to make a lead magnet about knitting because that audience that you have started to develop on social media where you're sharing tips about crocheting, they may not be interested in knitting. You have to come up with something that is going to solve a problem that that audience is having. That's really what your lead magnet is designed to do. So, I don't know much about crocheting, but here's what I can tell you. If someone is new to crocheting, they might need to know, the five most beneficial tools to get started as a crocheter, the five best types of yarn. They might need to know the four basic stitches that they can learn to create a variety of different items they might be interested in. So remember, first and foremost, your lead magnet solves a problem. The second thing, it should only focus on one thing. So you're not trying to teach a whole knitting course or crocheting course if in fact that's what your lead magnet is about. That's not what you're doing. You are focusing in and solving one problem. As a result of that, your lead magnet needs to fall into the best possible way of presenting that information. Let me give you an example. There are a lot of ways that you can create a lead magnet. One might be video, like what I'm doing here. So if you're going to be teaching something, you could very easily teach this. As a matter of fact, this training, because it is solely focused on growing or starting an email list, I could actually take this recording, turn it into a workshop, and allow this to be my lead magnet. So, video can be one form of lead magnet. If in fact you are demonstrating the stitches in crocheting, as I mentioned, you could have an overhead camera, and that overhead camera can be your phone. Does not have to be difficult. That actually shows you demonstrating the stitch. You could do it online. You just need to get a little bit closer. Another way, and probably some of the easier ways to actually create a lead magnet, is going to be something like a guide. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of different examples. When I talk about a guide, I'm thinking in terms of something like a Google Doc or a Canva PDF, if you will. Now, with that, the difference between a guide and an ebook is really pretty much the length. So, for example, if you're going to share the best types of yarn or whatever, then you could very easily create a guide, which is nothing more than a PDF that's pretty short in length. So, it's going to be, probably 5 pages, 7 pages, something like that. And that could very well be your lead magnet. Now, what is the lead magnet really designed to do besides, allow people to have a problem solved? It's designed to pull people off of social media and onto your email list. The guide, whatever it happens to be, if it's a video, if it's a recording, if it's a ebook, whatever it happens to be, it just needs to be valuable enough to the people in your audience that they are willing to exchange their email address in order to receive your thing, your lead magnet. Okay. Now, I want to say this because I've had people say this to their audience. I do not ever want you to refer to it as a lead magnet. I just want you to refer to it as a guide because people don't like to be sold to. They don't, in this lead magnet, you're really not going to be selling to them. But people don't want to be treated like, just that you're trying to get something out of them. This is the start of the relationship. So if you are going to be sharing with them what this is, you're just going to say, hey, I put together a simple guide that's going to teach you how to do X, Y, and Z. Okay. And it really should say X because we're focusing on one thing. All right. Okay. So let me go back and take a look at some of these. Yep. Email list is definitely the way to go. Let's see. All right. Maeve says she is, in fact, writing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. You're working on your first digital product, and that's perfect. So hopefully you do, in fact, have your lead magnet already in place so you can, in fact, build the list and have some people to sell to. And it does not matter whether or not you have a email list. As I said, we're going to be addressing all of that here. So what website to use that grows with you. I'll give you answers to that as well. All right. So remember, never refer to it as a lead magnet. We are simply referring to it as a guide, a master class. That could be another way that you refer to it. An audio recording, there's so many, a cheat sheet, a checklist. So let me give you another example that would be great for people. So when I do live video, one of the things that I do is I go through a sequence of events to make sure everything is in place. I restart my laptop. I plug in or make sure all my cables are plugged in before I restart my laptop. I do a sound check. I make sure all the lights are turned on. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and one light behind me. I make sure all those are turned on. So the reason why I'm sharing that with you is I could turn those steps into a checklist, and that checklist could be offered as a lead magnet because someone who is interested in live streaming might want to know, the types of things that they should have in place or they should do prior to starting a live stream. So, I want you to really think about what you can offer. And here's the other thing. I'm going to give you something that you're probably going to say, oh, come on, Rhonda, I can't get that done. Yes, you can. I really want you to create this lead magnet in 2 hours or less. We don't have time to be messing around because we need to get off to a great start during 2026. So we're going to create it and we're going to launch it. And I'm going to explain to you how to do that in just a second. Understand this. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can always iterate. You can always create a newer version. You can always, work in terms of making sure that what you're offering to people is in fact something they want. And that's another thing that I want you to really think in terms of. If you've started to build an audience, then I want you to ask them, what is it that they want to learn? Because they can be the best source of information for the lead magnet. They might say, I want a checklist. They might say, I want a swipe file of all of the recipes. They might say, I want a swipe file of websites to go to do whatever. So I want you to really think in terms of what you have. And right now, all I want you focused on is one lead magnet. We're not trying to create 3 or 4 or 5. We're trying to create one lead magnet and one lead magnet only. All right? Now, below in the description, I actually have a link to a guide that will allow you to learn how to create a lead magnet. It's absolutely free. Just click on it. You'll see it down in the description, and that's going to help you out a lot because it's going to give you a lot of these steps here. All right. Now, The next thing that I want you to do, let me make sure I didn't miss anything in that step. All right. All right. The next thing I want you to do is to pick an email service provider. And I'm going to give you the names of some of them that are out there. I'm going to suggest a couple, but you pick what works for you. I'm never going to be the one that tells you you have to use this, because I don't believe in that. I believe that because you're a business owner, you have to go through the steps of evaluating what's going to work best for you. Now, I use two different email service providers, and I'm going to tell you why. And I don't encourage you to do this. I've had an email list for years. Okay, I started a website years ago. So I have used a service that was once known as ConvertKit, and now it's known simply as Kit, K-I-T. Now, this is where when I send out a message to my email subscribers, that's where it's coming from. Why? Because that all of that framework and the infrastructure, if you will, has been built out on my website for years, and honestly, I just have not gotten around to changing it. And I don't know that I will change it at this point because I really like Kit. It allows me to do a variety of things, such as build landing pages, and you can even sell digital products on there. I don't do that there, but I just want you to know it allows me to do that. And one other thing it allows, which is really important, and we'll get to this a little bit later, is it allows me to segment my list. It allows me to emails just specific segments of my list. It allows me to set up automations. And again, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, so I don't want to get too far ahead, but I want you to know it is robust. It allows me to do a lot of things. All right, the second thing that I like to recommend is System IO. And some of you have heard me talk about that in the past. So I'm going to give you kind of a comparison between the two, Kit and System IO. If you already have a stand store, if you already have a website in place, if you already have a school community, then System IO is probably not necessary for you because you've already built out something that is currently working for you. That's where you would probably want to, you know, take that and actually connect it to something like ConvertKit or Kit. I'm sorry, Kit. Now, if you need a standalone service provider, Kit is not the only one. There's also things like MailerLite, there's Flowdesk, there's what is it? MailChimp. There's a ton of different email service providers out there. You need to just really go through and do a comparison of the features, and most of them are based upon subscriber count. So as your subscriber count grows, they in fact are going to charge you more. That's a very normal thing for most standalone email service providers. Another thing that email service providers will do is, let's say you have people who have opted into a couple of different things. With some services, they're going to charge you per subscriber, and they count that subscriber that's opted into two things as two subscribers. Now, Kit doesn't do that. So if a subscriber is actually opted in to multiple things, they're still only going to be counted as one subscriber. Okay. But you look at the different service providers that are out there and the different features they offer. Now, let's move over to System IO. And why I actually suggest that if you're getting started. With System IO, it is an all-in-one platform, which means you can not only have your email details listed inside of there. In other words, you can create things like landing pages in order to collect email addresses. You can do all of the automations and so forth, but it's also going to allow you to set up things like your sales funnels. It's going to allow you to collect payments. It's going to allow you to have a website. It's going to allow you to have a blog. All of that is on there for a very reasonable price. As a matter of fact, you can get started with System IO free. I have a link and full disclosure, it is in fact an affiliate link that is listed below. But I can tell you that if I were starting today, I would not have my WordPress website. I would have just done everything on System.io because even at its most expensive monthly price, I want to say it's like $99 at the time of this recording, and you can have an unlimited number of subscribers as compared to Kit, which once you hit 1,000 or up to 1,000 subscribers is going to cost you just shy of $400 a year. So you do the math, okay? So I don't know, maybe sometime this year I might take some time to unwind the stuff with my WordPress site, but right now that's just not a priority for me. So going back to that, you need to pick an email service provider. Now, here's the thing I can tell you. With most email service providers, they're going to allow you to do all the things you need to do as a brand new list builder, email list builder, if you will. All right, so now, once you've picked your email service provider, somewhere within that email list service provider, there's going to be a feature that will allow you to build what's called a landing page. A landing page is nothing more than a place you're going to send people to. And once they are on that place, it's going to describe whatever your lead magnet is, and it's going to give them an opportunity to enter their email address and perhaps their first name if you're collecting that. Give me a second. I'm going to switch screens, and I'm going to show you an example of a landing page. So, all right. You all bear with me just 1 second while I go full screen here. Okay, so this one's in preview mode because this is the one that I use in a video that I've recorded. But I want to show you a couple of the features here, and this is what you actually want when you are creating a landing page. One is there's just going to be a headline, and what it's going to do is kind of talk about the problem that your lead magnet is going to solve. So this is the easy way to create an awesome ebook. That's just the name of this. All right. Now, if you notice on this landing page, there are no other links that people can click onto. So it's not like it's on a website where they can click to go home. They can learn about you. They can hit the contact. No, it doesn't have any of that. It has a picture of your lead magnet, and then it has the instructions to actually get it. And then what happens is they enter the information that you're requesting, and I want to share this with you. Keep the information you request from people super simple. First name, email address, or simply email address, and then get the report. So here's the thing I want you to also notice. As I mentioned, there's no other place they can go. So if they land on this page and they decide they don't want it, the only thing they can really do is simply close it out, close the page out. Now, what happens, let me come back to my screen here. Now, what happens is once they enter the information into this landing page, there are things that happen behind the scene based upon what you've set up. What happens behind the scene? The first thing is they're going to be directed to a thank you page. And I want you to put this in the notes, and I want you to make sure that you star this, okay? So after they enter their information, they're going to go to a thank you page. I do not want you to put the download link on that confirmation page. I don't want you, or if it's a thank you page. And when I say a thank you page, it's going to say something like, thank you so much. Your request has been received. Check your inbox and your guide will be in your inbox. Why don't I want you to put it there? Because there are people that will put a fake email address into the landing page because they know it's going to trigger it to go to the second page, the confirmation page or thank you page. And for people who don't know, they go ahead and they link the download, meaning your guide or, whatever your lead magnet is, to that page, which means now someone has essentially just bypassed your system. And they're now able to actually have the guide. You don't want to do that. Instead, what you want to do is, as I mentioned, you're going to tell them to check their email inbox. What you're going to do is to set the automations up in the back end that are going to allow you to deliver the lead magnet via their actual email address, not the fake one that they've given you. It's going to go to the actual one. So if they gave you a fake email address, they're never going to get your guide. Now, once they actually receive that first email from you, what they're going to be able to do is to click a link in there that says something like, here's the link to your guide. Thank you for requesting this. I hope you enjoy it. And then I always have something in that email that says something along the lines of, I'll be back in your inbox tomorrow to properly introduce myself to you. But I wanted to make sure you receive this guide as soon as possible. Enjoy. All right, so it's a very simple email. If you have ever subscribed to someone else's email list, you've seen what I'm talking about. Okay, now, because when I talk in terms of automations, what I mean is that you're setting things up on the back end that is going to allow someone to receive a series of email messages from you. It's really going to be referred to in most cases as a welcome sequence. I would say do 3 to 5 email messages. All right. So the first one is going to go out automatically. I mean, like immediately. Most people are going to receive that within 5 minutes of actually hitting submit, if you will. All right. Give me 1 second, make sure I'm not missing anything here. All right. So, what that is going to allow is for this to go out. It does not matter what time of the day because it's automated. So, if someone goes to your lead magnet or your landing page at 2 a.m. when you're sound asleep, and they enter the information, they can receive that automatically via your email service provider at 2 a.m. So, in other words, it does not require you to do anything manually once you have properly set it up. All right. And so your goal is to really send as much traffic as you possibly can to that landing page so that people are requesting it and then they're getting onto your email list. Now, I have this somewhere in my notes, but I also want to share with you something that I personally do. I only want people on my email list that want to be on my email list. So, in that second email that they receive from me, where I say I want to properly introduce myself to you, that email message is going to go out the next day. I tell them a little bit about myself, and I always say, if based upon what I've shared with you, this doesn't resonate with you, you don't think I can be a coach to you, this is not what you're interested in, then, feel free to grab your guide and unsubscribe. No hard feelings. Because I, again, only want people on my list. I encourage you to do something similar to that. Now, what happens is I think I have I think there are 4 emails in my welcome series, and they go out over the course of a week. In order for people to end up on my regular email list, they have to complete the sequence. Now, that's just the way I set it up. Because again, I want to give people an opportunity to opt out if I'm just not their cup of tea. And that's okay. And you should be okay with that as well. So, the whole thing is to get this thing set up so that it is automated and get people on your list. All right, now the next thing. So we've talked about the list, or I'm sorry, the landing page, and I want to go back to that just a second because I also want to make sure I point out one other thing to you on this. Give me 1 second to go back to it. And I addressed this, but I just want to make sure that we are, in fact, clear on this. Okay, so on this headline, this really has to address the problem. It has to pretty much tell people without telling them who this is for. So, in other words, somebody who is an expert at creating ebooks should immediately rule themselves out that this is not something they want. Because what I'm saying is the easy way to create an awesome ebook. So someone who is a beginner knows this is for them, but somebody who's an expert would rule themselves completely out. You can also have a subtitle here or a subheading, if you will. And then the next thing is, just telling them exactly what to do. See, what you do not want to do is confuse people by having a whole bunch of text on there, because people have such a short attention span that the shorter your landing page content is, the more likely they are to complete the two fields that you're asking them to complete, so that they can get it done. Because I'll tell you what will happen a lot of times if you have too much on there and it's too much for people to read. They're going to feel like, oh, this is exhausting to read through this. I'll come back to this another time. And we all know they're not coming back. The other thing is, if they're kind of distracted or they're trying to get it done quickly and all they have to enter is two fields, they're more likely to complete it before their kid is screaming in the background asking them for something. So you just want to get the minimal amount of information. Now, why do I request the first name? Because when I send out my weekly emails, I like to have the opportunity to address the person by their first name. So my emails typically start off with, hello, so and so. And the way that the email service providers are set up, it will take the content from that first name field and automatically substitute it. So every single person is getting a personalized email address or email message. Now, another thing I will do, and I will encourage you to use this periodically as well, is in the subject line, use the person's first name. Because think about it, if you're scrolling through your inbox and you see something that has your first name there, you're more likely to click on that and actually open it and read it. Okay? So just a couple of tips that you can use there. All right, now, and I'm sorry, I'm probably bouncing around because I'm thinking about things that I don't want to forget. So give me 1 second. If you guys have any questions as I'm going through this, by all means, pop it into the comment section, and I'll make sure to answer any questions that you might have. All right, now, let's go back now and talk about the welcome sequence, because this is going to be one of the important things that you have to get right. With the welcome sequence, as I said, that first one, don't go into a lot of detail. That very first message that delivers the email, the whatever it is that you're offering them, the lead magnet, just basic information. Hey, so and so, thank you for requesting it. Here's the lead magnet that you requested. Again, don't call it a lead magnet. And I'll be back in your email inbox tomorrow. That's it. That's the first. So it's really just a few lines. And remember, you have to make sure that you link your lead magnet to the email message. And actually, I have a video where I teach you how to do a lot of that. So if you go into the description, the description of this YouTube video, I actually have a video that teaches you how to set this up. So don't worry about it. I just want you to get the concept now, but I'm going to show you how to do all of that in that actual video. All right. Now, the second email, as I said, is where you are going to send it out the next day. You're going to introduce yourself to them. What should you include in that email? Well, I would include something about your background. So I am a former blah, blah, blah. This is what I do now. Tell them why you're qualified to actually teach whatever it is that you're going to be teaching. Tell them a little bit about your interest. You can incorporate some of that type of stuff in there. You can also just say, kind of what your philosophy is. So, for example, one of the things that I share with my audience is, my goal is to make sure that I keep the concept simple for you. I teach you how to take what you already know how to do and turn it into products that you can actually sell. So I'm going to tell them a little bit about that. And then, as I said, as I go through, I say, hey, if this still works for you, then it sounds like we're going to have a great relationship. If it doesn't, feel free to unsubscribe, and there's no hard feelings. All right. And then I come back in the third day, and I think there's a day in between, maybe the second and my third message. So let's say if the message goes out on a Tuesday, then that next message is going to go out on a Thursday. And understand, when I say Tuesday, I'm just assuming that the person subscribed on Monday, they received the second message on Tuesday. They could subscribe on whatever day, and the message is just going to follow the number of days that you have suggested. So if you say message one goes out immediately, message two goes out the next day, message three goes out on day 4. So you're able to do all of that in your email service provider by, taking all of this stuff and just kind of telling it, customizing it, if you will, telling it when you want to send things out. And it's going to send based upon the time that they actually subscribed, unless you have put in additional features. I let it go out just as whatever time they actually subscribed. Okay. All right. Now, the next thing, in that third email, you can do a couple of things. In that third email, you can simply say to them, "Hey, I just wanted to." You can offer like a free tool. You can offer a discounted rate on a product that you might have. There's a lot of different things. You can tell them about, different things you have that are coming up. But understand, because this is a sequence that's going to be going out regularly, if you're going to tell them something you have coming up, it probably needs to be something that is pre-recorded. So like a master class, you can simply say to them, "Hey, I have a master class that you might benefit from." Now, why are we even doing all of this? Because we're building the relationship. We're allowing them to get to know us. And one thing I don't want you to ever do is to feel uncomfortable about sharing information with people. Like, some people feel like they're giving way too much away initially. No, you're really trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out if they like you, if they want to continue being part of this relationship with you, if you will. So don't be uncomfortable doing that. And it can be something simple, that free gift, if you want to give them that, and you don't have to do it. But if you do want to give it to them, that could be just, like I said, a recording that you have. It could be another checklist that you have. It could be something along those lines. Then that fourth email, when it goes out, this is where, if you are ready to and you have something you want to pitch, a paid product, you can now pitch it, because you've had enough interactions with people that they're okay with you pitching something to them. Now, is everybody going to be okay? No, but I'll tell you what, you're never going to be able to, make everybody happy. But there are some people, particularly if they've determined that you can be a guide for them, they're going to be happy to hear what you have to offer. Just don't make it a hard sell if you decide to do that. And if you decide that you're not ready to do it, or you don't have a product ready to go, don't worry about it. Just provide something valuable that can be helpful. It can be, 3 more tips. It can be, 5 strategies. It can be whatever. You can give them something. But the whole point is just to make sure that whatever you're sending out is valuable. Now, once they are actually on your regular email list, if you will, or the email list that you are sending out or sending something to on a weekly basis, and that would be something I want you to write in your notes as well. Make sure you connect with people. Make sure you communicate with them. I can't tell you, and honestly, I've been guilty of this as well. I can't tell you how many people will build an email list and never send an email message out to their people. You can't do that. You have to make sure that you are sending something out to them on a regular basis. I would say once a week is fine. If you want to do a couple times a week, you can do that. Sometimes when it gets to be a little bit more than maybe twice a week, that just becomes overwhelming and people may start to unsubscribe. So just think about it. I shoot for once a week, and that's really what I focus on. All right. But as I said, every single message that goes out really should have something of value that is going to be included in there. And then each of the messages that you send out should always, always, always have a call to action. Let me go back to a couple of things I've already mentioned. Remember, I said in the first message that goes out that delivers the guide or lead magnet, I say to them, don't forget to check your email inbox tomorrow. I'll be back in your email. That's a call to action. It's just you're telling them what the next step is going to be. You can also say, I've created this free masterclass for you. If you've done something like that, don't forget to check it out. Click the link below and you'll be directed to it. So you just want to get people in the habit of doing something with every single email message that you send out. All right. Okay. So any questions that we have, and let me know whether or not this information is helpful to you. I know it's kind of all over, and I would prefer to teach this in an actual where I can actually pull up screens and show you all of that. But today I just want to get it out so that I can get it in your head that we are really going to have to focus in on building this email list. And the reason why I'm having you focus so hard on this is because when it comes time to start selling your selling your digital products, email is going to be your best tool. Email actually is going to allow you to be able to sell your digital products 40 times more than even social media. So it's important to get this list built because this list is warm. These are people that are accustomed to hearing from you. So you have to nurture them. You've got to make sure that you're connecting with them on a regular basis. And it just goes without saying, the bigger you build your email list, the more potential customers you're going to have for your digital products, your courses, your master classes, your VIP days, your one-on-one sessions, whatever it is that you're ultimately going to be selling. All right. So, okay. Thank you so much. So, a 2-hour tutorial. That's awesome. So, that's what I say. There are so many different ways that you can do this. What about Kajabi? Let me go ahead and pop that up there. Your thoughts on that system? Kajabi is fine. If you've already set it up and it's ready to go, go. But I will tell you from a cost effectiveness point of view, System.io definitely offers the same types of features for a whole lot less money. And why do I know that? Because I'm in a group, a System.io group on Facebook, and so many people have moved from Kajabi over to System.io. And one of the things that they talk a lot about is how much cheaper and that they're not really losing any features by using System.io. Kajabi, as I said, is going to allow you to host courses. You can do all of that on System.io as well. You can host, so for example, let's say you have recorded a masterclass and you want to have that set up so it's automatically available to people. You can do that as well for one fee. And so that's where I say every single tool that you're using, make sure you evaluate it to see whether or not it's going to work. But I'm definitely never going to say anything negative about Kajabi. I know lots of people that use Kajabi. Same thing. They've been using it for years. They have no desire to change. And it does everything that they need them to do. So by all means, definitely do that. Let's see here. Yes, a call to action in every single email. So, as I said, it's just a way of getting people to take the next step whenever you are, connecting with them. Okay. All right. So let's see here. I'm just making sure that I have not mentioned it. Oh, your lead magnet. This is the thing. You're going to have to promote your lead magnet on a regular basis. So once you create it and you have the landing page ready to go and everything's connected, the email messages are ready, your job is to regularly promote your lead magnet. You can't promote it one time and think everybody knows about it. You can't just put a link in bio without telling people to go to it. You have to do that. And but you have to continue to tell people about it because you can't assume that everybody knows about it. The other thing you have to remember is if you are regularly creating content, people are finding you on a regular basis. So, someone that finds you, for example, today, and then someone that may hear about it because you're talking about it, but someone that finds you in March, if you're no longer talking about your guide or masterclass or whatever it is, they're not going to know about it if you only talked about it in January. So, you have to make it a regular part of the conversation. And I'm going to give you some language to use so that it doesn't sound like a hard sell. All right, real simple. You're going to say, if you have been trying to figure out how to create an ebook, I'm just using the example for the landing page I have. If you've been trying to figure out how to create an ebook, well, you don't have to worry about that because I took all of the steps that I use to create my ebooks and I've actually put it into a short guide. And if you want a copy of that, there's a link right below here, or there's a link in my bio. You can get it. It won't cost you anything. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. On to the next point. So, in other words, I didn't hit them hard. I just said it's there. And then the next thing I would say is, all right, step number 2 of my strategy, whatever it is that I'm teaching. If you do it that way, if you present it that way, now people are just thinking, well, that's just a solution that is going to help me. She didn't push me, it's free. So let me go ahead and grab a copy of that. And I tell you, this is something that I started doing on a regular basis. Okay, I'm going to put myself out here. I had not been putting putting my lead magnets, links to them in the descriptions of all of my YouTube videos. Once I started doing that, my subscriber count shot up. And all I do is sometime during my training or during the video, I just simply say, hey, if in fact you want X, there's a link to it right below this video in the description. Grab it, doesn't cost you anything, and I think you'll find it helpful. And then I move on to the next point. So if you can learn to use that type of language, you'll be surprised at how many people will go ahead and subscribe. And if you keep that landing page really simple and without distractions. Okay? All right. So, I'm trying to think, have I missed anything as I've gone to it? I've talked about committing to weekly emails. All right, now I want to give you a couple of common mistakes that beginners make. So, and feel free if you do still have any questions or you think of anything as we're going through this, make sure to drop those in and I'll come back and answer them. So let me give you some common mistakes. One, waiting too long to start. Here's one thing that a lot of people will do, brand new people. They feel as though they have to develop a presence on whatever social media. So if they're building on Threads or they're building on YouTube or they're building on Instagram, they feel like they have to develop a certain number of followers or subscribers before they can actually create a lead magnet and start promoting it. No, you don't. You can actually go ahead and create that because as people start to follow you and subscribe, you want to have something that's readily available that you can direct them to. That's why I'm saying I want you to take 2 hours, you pick the 2 hours, create something, and then what I want you to do is to get that landing page set up. Like I said, follow the video that I have below. It's going to show you how to set up a System.io account and the landing page. You just follow the video that I have and it will show you how to go from having absolutely nothing to having a landing page that's ready to go with the email messages as well. All right, the second thing is overcomplicating tech. Now, this is where I'm saying Pick an email service provider, whatever it's going to be, and get started. I don't want you to take the next 3 weeks to do an analysis of 5 different email service providers, create a spreadsheet, and then evaluate that. Call the community together and no, we're not doing that. Pick a tool and get it ready to go. You can always change later if you need to do that. All right. The other thing, I talked about this before, not emailing people once they subscribe. You have to communicate with people because if you're not in their email inbox on a regular basis, they're going to forget about you. So you need to do it. And just know that when I had 7 people on my email list, I emailed them as if I was talking to 7,000. Okay? Because why wouldn't we give those 7 people who took the time to give you their email address, why wouldn't we give them our best? We should do that. You should always deliver your best because you never know who those 7 people might refer you to. So make sure that you do that. And then the other thing, as I just kind of alluded to, thinking your audience is too small to start emailing them. It isn't. I don't care if there's one person on your email list, email them. Okay. All right. Now, another thing that I want to point out, and I also have linked a video below that will help you with this, is as you are doing business, okay? What we are not going to do in 2026 is use Gmail accounts. We are not going to use Yahoo accounts. We're not going to use, is it AOL still exist? I don't know, Hotmail, whatever they are. No, you are going to have a professional email address. I have another video below this that shows you how to get one set up in 11 minutes. It's that simple to do. Yes, you're going to pay for it, but what it is going to do is set you apart from most everybody else out there who's brand new, who is using a Gmail account. Okay, so let me give you an example. My email address that sends out my email messages is support@rhondamjordan.com. I own that domain. You should own the domain that you want to use. So, for example, you can use your name. You can use a brand name if you've done that, and all you have to do is, as I said, follow the steps in the video that I have. I show you how to purchase it, and then I show you how to get it set up and ready to go so you can use that to send out your messages. Because I can tell you, as a matter of fact, this happened to us for my husband's business over the holidays. Somebody was emailing him wanting to perform a service. And I immediately looked at the sender email address and it was like, I don't know, some made up name at gmail.com. I'm like, absolutely not. We are not in 2026 doing business with people who don't even take the time to up their game and get a professional email address. Honestly, you can get a domain and a professional email address for like $25 a year. It's probably not even that much. But it's important because it's showing people that, you're doing things in the right way. You are legitimate. You are, you've taken the time to set yourself apart from most people who won't do it. All right. So you're going to definitely need to do that. Not need to do it, but I will tell you, you really should do it. And another reason why you want to do it is if you're trying to use a free email address like Yahoo or Gmail or any of those, your deliverability rates into someone's email inbox is going to be much lower than if you're using a professional email address. What do I mean by a professional email address? That's just your name or support or info at the domain that you've selected. So for me, that's rhondamjordan.com. That is the professional email address. So just make sure that you know that, because if you're going to take the time to send information out, you want it to actually land in someone's inbox. And if you're trying to use a Gmail or something like that, it's probably going to their spam folder. So now what does that person think when they have completed the information on the landing page and they don't get anything from you? Because remember, you've said, check your inbox. This should in fact be there. Now, sometimes, depending on the content, of your message, it could potentially go to their spam folder. So you can even say to them, check your spam folder. But I really don't want you to run that risk of always landing in people's spam folder simply because you're using a free email address. So just take the time to do that. All right. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do, let's see here. All right, let's see. Connected with you after watching a YouTube video. Perfect. Thank you so much. And by the way, which email or video did you watch? I'd love to know. So I always tell people I have a number of tutorial videos that are going to help you through a lot of these types of topics. And you'll see even more of them that will be released this year. So I'll make sure that I'm doing more of that as well. All right. And before I get ready to wrap up, if you have not been on one of my live trainings before, then one thing I like to finish with is some portion of mindset training, meaning that I want to give you something that is going to allow you, to be prepared when things happen to you or, to have a strategy that you can implement. And so today, what I want to focus on for just the next couple minutes or so is waiting until you think you are ready. You are never going to think you're ready. We always feel like there's more we can learn. We always feel like, well, I need to do this first. For example, if we're talking about creating the landing page. Well, maybe I should wait. Maybe I should, learn a little bit more about what goes into a landing page. You already know because you just watched this training. It doesn't get any more complicated than what we've already talked about here. So, no, don't wait because if you wait, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be waiting until March. Then you're going to wait until September. Then we're going to look up this time next year, and you're going to realize you lost an entire year because you didn't feel like you were ready. You have to do the whole jump and the net will appear type of thing. Because remember, you can always make modifications. You can always change things. You can always dump the lead magnet that you started with and create a brand new one if you don't feel as though the one that you decided on is working for you. So, just make sure that you do it. The other thing is that clarity is going to show up once you start. So, for example, as you start creating content, as you start putting things together, one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to start to build an audience, and your audience is going to help you in many ways know what they want from you. They're going to tell you what they want to learn. I can tell you that one of my most successful videos came from a request by one of my people that watched another video of mine and asked, can you create a video on X? And I had never really thought about that. So I did it. And that video now has 45,000 views or something like that. So, but what I'm saying is if I hadn't listened to my audience, then, I wouldn't have done that. So we're always going to feel as though we're not necessarily ready. You have to do it. You just have to start, and then things will start to fall in place for you. And as I said, when you're waiting for things, when you're trying to figure a bunch of stuff out, when you're trying to do a bunch of analysis and so forth, what's really happening is you're just simply losing time. And as you're losing time, you're also losing momentum. One thing I always like to tell people is just start. It'll come together. For example, if you have wanted to start doing videos, and you don't feel as though you have the right equipment, all you need is a cell phone. Flip it over to the back side so that you're using the back camera. Get a tripod and a decent microphone, which you can get for $20. You don't have to have the type of microphone that I have here, and just start talking to the camera. The first few videos are going to be horrible. I can tell you that right now. It might be the first 20 videos that are going to be horrible, but eventually you'll get better. Eventually you're going to, realize that you're not as bad as you thought you were, that people are responding to you and so forth. So waiting is something we're going to write on our paper and then immediately draw a line through it. That is not what we're doing in 2026. I want you to think of 2026 and going forward as the time for you to take action. imperfect action, action that's going to move you from where you are closer to where you ultimately want to be. That's what we're focusing on. Now, I want to tell you about some of the other things that I have coming up. I'm actually going to pull together a community for us to be able to connect on. And the reason why I want to do that is I find from talking to so many different solopreneurs, which are one person business owners, that they're lonely. They feel as though if they had a community or a way of connecting or a way of bouncing ideas off of people, that they would, in fact, do better. They would get there faster. And that's true because all you have to do is think in terms of masterminds. People, when they come together and do a mastermind, it's like what is the saying that a rising tide lifts all boats? That's exactly what happens. So look for something like that. Another thing is I have a product that I really am excited about that I am launching, a digital product that I know is going to help a lot of people. And the reason why I'm excited about this is it's the type of thing that's going to allow you to continue to increase your income. Last thing I want to leave you with is this. I want you to think about one platform only that you're going to build on this year. I want you to think about one product that you're going to create. I want you to focus on creating content on a regular basis on that platform. And this is the type of thing, that type of focus is what's going to increase your income and get you where you want to be a lot faster. All right. Your issue. Okay. You know what? Thank you so much for saying this because that's most people's issue. It's like we just need we need that push, and that's where I really feel as though the community is going to help you. But before that's in place, here's what I want you to think about. What one thing can you do that you can write down and take some action toward? And that's where I want you to think about the lead magnet that you can create. Write down 10 things that you know people who are part of your ideal audience struggle with. Just write them down. And let me share this one thing with you guys because this will help you as well. Let's see here. This is a huge help. I'm sorry, I'm typing it into my screen. Okay, so let me go full screen one last time and then we're going to wrap up. If you need ideas, here's what I want you to do. I want you to come over here to this website. It's called answerthepublic.com. All right. You can do, I think, 3 free searches per day. You're going to put in a topic. And what this is going to do is to return. So let's just say crocheting. All right. What this is going to do is to return a list of questions that people have typed into various search engines. And you're seeing it actually work in real time here. It's going to type in or give you a sequence of questions that people have in fact typed in regarding the main title or main topic, if you will. So here's all the things that you can do. So now what you can do is to look at these. Oh, now they've even added it where you can put in AI prompts. Okay, I haven't been on here in a while, but you can actually go in. So here's some topics. How do I start crocheting? Let me move this over. And then here are things. What is the first thing to crochet for beginners? So you put your topic in and it's going to return a lot of different things. All of these could end up being a lead magnet for you. So pick one and get started. That's how you want to operate. You just want to take the next logical step for you, and that's what's going to allow you to actually get going. Okay. All right. So yes, Answer the Public is amazing. I love it. It is perfect for finding content ideas that perhaps you hadn't even thought about, because as I said, all of those can be turned into content that you can share on social media. It can be turned into lead magnets, digital products, can be turned into a masterclass. It can be turned into a variety of things. So I hope that helps you. is just picking a topic and moving forward. All right. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap up here. I hope I've given you a lot of things to look at. Don't forget to grab your guide below. Don't forget to watch the videos. Make sure you get your professional email address so that you're ready for 2026. And I always say, if this information was helpful to you, please give it some thumbs up. And by all means, if you have some business besties that could benefit from this type of information, please share it with them so that they can learn the same information you're learning. And then eventually, you're all learning together and we're all in this together, making things happen. So I appreciate you for being on. So whether you watched with me live or if in fact you watched the replay, I appreciate you being here. And I look forward to seeing you next week when I'm right back in this chair at 12 p.m. Eastern next week, Wednesday. So have a great day and an even better week. Talk to you soon. Bye.